like with FTSE just for a change today, because I was watching the news last night and it said FTSE makes new all-time highs, and that's what, of course, I've been saying it's going to make because of the five-wave pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just rather nice to sort of see the news reporting something I was been talking about for the last few weeks, really. Well, I suppose the fifth wave is not about the last few weeks, but some days in any case. Let me just check. It is actually the all-time high. I wasn't quite sure it was. Yes, having checked back, it is actually both a new intraday high, but only by 3 points, but a new closing high by about 20 points or so, because the last peak saw quite a big, a sell-off after the high of the day. However, it looks like, if this count is correct, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that this rally may not last too much longer, and this may be a final move, which is, I guess, the kind of thing you might think would be the case if it actually makes the news, because that suggests a sort of a groundswell of positivity, perhaps. So it's confirmation of sorts. I'm not saying it's a very strong confirmation that the wave count may indeed be correct, and that we are in fact heading for a peak quite soon. Doesn't mean it can come in it could still be a few days off, I would think. I mean, this move here took us up from 7,303 up to 7,600, so 300 points. So it may well we're going to see 8,000, 300 points onto the lows here would be about 8,000 or so. So maybe we've got another 100 points or so to go. Plus we've got only got a 1, 2, 3 at the moment, and no sign of the fourth wave yet. So we've got a 4 and a 5 to come. So a little bit further, I would expect before this peak is in. Gold, meanwhile, has actually fallen back quite sharply from around 2,000 down to 1860. Obviously, the 2,000 level is a psychological level which people are shying away from, perhaps. It looks like a part of a correction. In fact, it looks like an A, B, C, A wave, A, B, C, B wave, and this would be a C wave. So I think probably the fourth wave is down here somewhere now. So I think 1, 2, 3, fourth wave, maybe 5, and then off we go again further up. Let's just check the slightly longer term pattern here. I want to see where the wave 1 is. So we have the 1 up to here. So yeah, so the fourth wave down there makes sense. I mean, it's possible there's actually a 4 and a 5, although I suppose there is a small, it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't look like it really, looks like an ABC, but I mean, it's not impossible we've seen the fifth wave. But for now, I'm going to stick with the count. This is actually the fourth wave correction, and I expect the fifth wave to come in and gold to continue on its path. I guess perhaps there's been a bit too much comment as well about gold recently, and doing well, etc., which again will draw people in and set the scenes for a bigger decline. So this is fairly sharp, but I mean, I think we've probably still got the fifth wave to come before we see a bigger correction. I would expect. Anyway, that's how it looks on gold. So I still remain positive in the medium longer term, but the shakeout in the shorter term does seem somewhat possibly overdue, in fact. Well, the same goes for silver. So again, I think it's probably an ABC A wave. An ABC A wave, ABC B wave, and now a C wave decline for the fourth wave decline. So somewhere down here, the same basic parameters. Still a fifth wave rally. It looks like it's due. And this will look pretty impulsive, as is a C wave, but again we are close to a peak. So that, once we see a low here, if that's what we see, then a fifth wave rally might be the end of the move for a while. So it's a question of judgment whether we ought to take some profits on longer held positions. I'll see how I feel at the time. I think I'll see what happens first, but for now I'm staying fairly set with my current positions. If you look at the longer term chart, this is a weekly chart. This makes sense. So we saw a low back in 2020 around March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quite a big ABC, which broke the 61% level. So this counts as the next wave up coming in. Let's expand this chart a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Now I know there's an A wave at ABC, but I think in fact it's a 1, 2, i.e. 1, 2, 1, 2. So let me just remark that. It makes more sense that way, I think. Okay, so a 1, 2, 1, 2, Then there's third of a third, 1, 2, 3, which we just discussed, 4 and a 5. So even when the fifth wave's in, we've still got a couple of 4 5s to come to correct, these two moves here. There should be a fair bit more to come once this low's actually in. It can go that low. It's actually a fourth wave of lower degree, in fact. So it doesn't actually. This move here this high is not relevant. This high here is. But I would thought, looking at the scale of the thing, that may be rather pessimistic. In fact, so same perhaps around there. That's the longer term count as far as the weekly, the 2-hour chart now. Right, just to do the same process with gold. There are actually 3 lows here, so a bit different. I've counted that this is the sort of start of a new rally, but mainly because it's hard to count this as it looks like more like part of the correction rather than this is an ABC, for example. So I'm counting this as a starting point. So we haven't got these 2 additional moves that silver is suggesting, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3. And then a 4 and a 5. So there's a fair bit more to come, even if the pace slows down a little bit. And it's also possible this is not actually wave 3. It could be that wave 3 is still continuing. And there's so many ups and downs, so it's difficult to get a precise count. But it's certainly looking positive in the medium term at the moment on both gold and silver. Bitcoin is similar. 5 goes up here. ABC 1, 2. If that is a 3. Rather irregular 4. The fifth wave, it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4 with a fifth wave failure here. The wave 1 was about the same length, in fact. So it's possible the peak's in. We're no real confirmation at the moment. It may want to go higher. It's got a slightly shorter term chart. It might be make some sense, or more sense, perhaps. I should say. Okay, so that's the 4 then. It looks like it might be a 1, although pretty erratic action. That's clearly a third. This is going down quite sharply. It's overlapping with this move here again, which again argues that this may be a fifth wave failure at this point. It looks fairly corrective. There's no real signs of an impulsive move here, which is just more upside, in fact. So maybe it's all a 1, 2 in some strange way. So perhaps 1 to there, 2. I guess that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and more upside to come. But I think this is I think we've seen the peak of the first wave, certainly, maybe the whole of 5, but no confirmation of that at the moment. So there could be a bit of a. But we are due only a correction. We're not due an impulsive decline at this point. Ethereum is similar with a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rather short-term 5, but I'll put that as a 5 for the time being. No real confirmation, but I think we're just going to see a correction at this point. Let's have a look at the slightly longer term again. 6 month chart. So 1, 2, possible 3. So we've got a 4th wave due in any case, and a 5th wave due. So I think the main trend remains up, but short-term correction over the next few weeks seems certainly on the cards. But I say no real confirmation that's a peak at this point in time. DAX also seen a 5th wave rally here, so we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you know, I've been calling for this 5th wave move for a while. There are a few alternative counts which I want to have a look at. For example, this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be 1 of 3. This could be 2 of 3. This could actually be the third of a third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This may not be over yet, of course. I think in fact it probably isn't over yet. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So 4, 5, 4, 5 to complete it, perhaps. Put that down to there. But it could be we do another 4th wave. Let's say this could be all part of 3. We'll gauge these things as I think it's probably the preferred count, and we'll gauge how it's going once we see the peak come in, which I would think would be pretty soon now on the DAX. Right, the Dow's seen 5 hours off the peak, so the peaks would appear to be already in here, followed by an ABC. Now we are, of course, testing the peak, haven't broken through, so if we do so, that would need to change, the count would need to change. I mean, this would become some kind of correction perhaps, or this would be a bigger ABC, I suppose. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. At the moment, that's a clear 5. This is a fairly long in the tooth, a longer ABC, but that's acceptable. Impulsive 1 looks fairly messy, which is the sign of a sort of corrective move. So, I think that the case that we're going down from here remains in place, but is under a question. Obviously, a move above there would change the count. But at the moment, it looks like the Dow has peaked, although it's not quite as clear as it was before. And Nasdaq peaked a fair while ago. Still looking for a C wave. I mean, a bit of a spike here, so this could be the peak now. But again, it could go a bit higher. There's no guarantee that won't happen. For the wave count, 1, 2, 3. There's a case perhaps for another rally, but I think in this ballpark, that's where we're going to reverse from, I would expect. So I mean, basically, although there have been a few changes in the shorter term timing, same essential position remains with equities peaking or having peaked. Gold and silver within the uptrend, but looks like that's due a correction. And the same with the cryptos. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you found that interesting and useful. Back to the report on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.